Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello and welcome back to the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. We're at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the 7th round of Season 16 and the Canadian Grand Prix. My name is Justin, and joining me again this week, it's Andy.
Yeah, it's great to be here once again, Justin. The Canadian Grand Prix, the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, a fantastic circuit. One of the Formula 1 classics on the calendar, coming off the back of the Monaco Grand Prix last week. A little dot away from Europe for a brief time to come here to the Canadian Grand Prix, a real favourite amongst the fans, a real favourite amongst the drivers, and always provides a fantastic Grand Prix. And I'm sure Justin will be in for another cracker here today.
Yep, gonna be looking forward to that one. It was a thrilling race last time out. In case you missed the Monaco Grand Prix, it was won by, of all people, P1R Brown, who hadn't previously finished any higher than 4th. And to bring home that win after the penalties to Surprise and Evo, our current championship leaders. Really incredible stuff. Huge congrats to him. He has since moved up to 4th. 4th, if you can believe it, in the championship standings. As it stands right now, Evo leads the championship on 130 points. He's got 4 wins and 2 third places, so 6 races yet to finish off the podium. Surprise in 2nd position with 72 points. He's either 2nd or last so far. That's how his season is going. He's gotten 2nd, DNF, 2nd. That's how his 6 races have looked so far. We didn't have VSR Simon last time out, one of the other race winners that we've had so far this season in the Red Bull. He missed the Monaco Grand Prix, as well as a number of other drivers did. In fact, we had a small size grid and a lot of retirements as well. Track records at this circuit go to Formula Danny with a 1:10.0 with a race time of 44 minutes and 43.4 seconds. And really looking forward to this one. It is a very high-speed circuit, lots of overtaking opportunities into turn 1, into turn 10, into the chicane at the end of the lap as well too. So we've got the DRS detection, DRS activation, 14 corners on this circuit, and we don't actually have a hot lap this time, Andy. So we're not going to be thrown into the hot lap or anything like that. What we are going to do is we're going to go on board with somebody and take a look at this circuit, and it is a little, did you say foggy out there? I don't know. It doesn't exactly look like sunny skies.
Certainly overcast, Justin. There's every possibility you could get rain here in Canada. You know, you're right on the water. There's every chance of a little bit of drizzle. But at the moment, dry conditions. Everyone out there on the Hyper Soft compound. The 3 tyre choices we have this weekend, the Hyper Soft, the Ultra Soft, and the Super Soft. The 3 softest compounds in the Pirelli tyre range, which will still, I believe, lead to a one-stop race. So given the fact that we're seeing a lot of runners setting competitive times on that Hypersoft tyre, I would think it would be Hypersoft to start and then moving on to the Supersofts for the second half of the race. That seems like what the guys in the top 10 will do. What the guys outside the top 10 will do, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Perhaps a mixture of Ultra Softs and Super Softs, maybe even a few on the Hyper Softs. We'll have to wait and see, Justin. But a thrilling qualifying session in the store. The likes of Surprise, Evo, Joe up at the top of the standings. And disappointingly, no Simon is. Oh yes, Simon is here, but no time on the board so far from the Red Bull driver. Currently P14. In fact, Justin, he's on 1 at the moment, coming to the end of 1. So I was going to say let's have a hot lap with him, but unfortunately he's coming to the end of his current lap, so we might have to wait a little bit longer before we get a hot lap. But let's see where Simon can slot in, because he has been a man in recent weeks, Justin, who has really come alive and started to show himself as a real contender near the front of the field, hasn't he, as he crosses the line and proves the point right on cue. 1:07.373, the Red Bull driver showing his pace, the German on top ahead of Veloci Surprise, and OMG, it's Joe.
Yep, so we've got 13 times on the board, and I'd say 11 of them are pretty competitive. I would expect Langman and MVP Zero to both improve their times, as Langman's actually on the Ultra Softs at the moment. Matt212 thinking about going on to the Ultra Softs, as well as Feisty Ted. OMG, it's Joe is on an outlap, so our podium finisher from Baku is OMG, it's Joe. He finished in 2nd position in Baku. He's just making his way around the turn 10 hairpin now, and I think he's a perfect candidate for to take us through a lap of this circuit. He's actually seems to be going a little slowly down the Casino Straight, headed towards the Wall of Champions, the final chicane, but he will be making his way through there now. So Andy, why don't you talk us through this 14 corner circuit with OMG It's Joe.
Let's do that. A very short run down towards turn 1, around 280 metres. Making a move at the start of the Grand Prix can it be tricky, but he threads his way through the first couple of corners. Always room for incident at the start. Then into the trees, into the forest, downhill through the first of 3 chicanes on this track, through turns 3 and 4. Now through the long turn 5, coming to the end of that first sector. 18.7 for the man currently 3rd so far in this qualifying session. It's important you get a good run coming out of there, and Joe typically backs out of his lap, Justin, just as we were trying to give you a good hot lap. But there you go, he's in mode 0, and there you go, cutting across the chicane. And Joe, you've ruined it for us. We were looking to do a hot lap, and he's coming across the runoff down there, and ends any hopes of a hot lap there. So, yep, Joe, you can apologise later for that one, mate.
He is 3rd quickest, though, as it stands right now. One of only 5 drivers to dip into the 107s so far, with Jason 97 F1 just teetering right on the edge there in 6th position, just over a 108. And Joe is going to continue on, though, so he's actually going to stay on that set of tires, despite just over 10 minutes remaining in qualifying. That's an interesting choice. Would you have come in there, Andy?
I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose I'm just reading there, Justin, from the comments, that Joe's actually said that we're going to have a wet race start to this Grand Prix.
Oh.
So that might explain why he's going again. But how about we go take 2 action on this hot lap? So let's pick him up where he was on the previous lap, going into turns 6 and 7 at the end of that first sector. A 10th down on his previous lap through there, and I think he's backed out again, Justin. This is why we should have commentated the hot lap beforehand. When it's live, you just get hit with things like that from time to time, and Joe backs out again. But we'll stick with him. Here he is coming down to that famous turn 10 hairpin with a huge grandstand. It's a fantastic place to sit and watch the Formula 1 action. You always the scene, Justin, sometimes with a few cracking dive bombs up the inside down there, and now down that long back straight towards the final chicane, the lake on the left-hand side there, where the 1976 Olympic rowing took place. And he comes into the pits and decides not to negotiate that infamous final chicane with the Wall of Champions sitting on its exit. And we know that the Wall of Champions can really bite, can't it, Justin?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I would expect at least 1 casualty from the Wall of Champions. We'll have to wait and see. Nobody. I wouldn't necessarily expect it in qualifying. Cars are light with fuel. Yellow flag out in sector 2. Evo is out on a lap at the moment, I believe. Yeah, he's, I think, on a quick one right now, just under a minute, as he makes his way out of the DRS detection zone into the braking for that final chicane, avoids that Wall of Champions, and powers his Ferrari across the line. It's going to be a 107.4, so he does improve, and he's now less than a 10th off of VSR Simon's time of a 107.3, so the Ferrari does improve. We do have a newcomer. We do have somebody filling in today, and it's Restev, I believe is how it's pronounced. Was that correct, Andy? Was it Restev?
Yeah, it might have a couple of E's on the end of it, but he asked me to pronounce him as Restev. So, yeah, he's in P12 at the moment on those Hypersoft tires. Let's see what he can do. But Evo there, cutting the gap down, wasn't he, Justin? 2/10 he found on that lap, but not enough to displace the ever-impressive Simon, who has looked extremely strong over the course of the season, and he's currently on a lap at the moment.
Oh, surprise though.
But he's in, look at that, going quickest of all now. This could be a fantastic end to the session between those top 3 drivers who have been head and shoulders above on many occasions this season. But here goes Simon, starting a lap here. And what can he do here in the Red Bull car? The German driver heads through turn 2 and up through the gears, down towards turn 3 and 4. That tricky downhill chicane. Look at that, brushing right up against the barrier on the exit, and he hit it there, didn't he? Simon pushing really hard as he heads through turn 5, and he, again...
He's backed off!
Oh.
I can't believe our luck when it comes to trying to commentate on these laps during qualifying. These drivers are really not being helpful. But Surprise now quickest as the second driver to dip into the 107.3s. And Leopard is, I think, on a hot lap at the moment. Yes, he is indeed. He's encountering a little bit of traffic in the form of the Renault of Feisty Ted. But really, if anything, that's just going to be giving him a bit of a tow heading down towards the final chicane. You don't carry that much speed into the chicane. And actually, Ted gets right out of the way. So that's actually played very nicely into the hands of LCR Leopard, the second Ferrari driver. I only say second Ferrari driver because Evo is so comfortably winning the championship. He's got nearly twice the points of the next car. Was that
team from Leopard, Justin? Look at that.
Yeah, it's really quick. That is really quick stuff, actually, from Leopard to go second quickest. Evo, Simon, Leopard, and Surprise, all of them dipping into the 107s, as well as Joe, actually. Pinecone, Jason, MVP 0. So we're getting a lot more guys that are into the 107s, of course, as this qualifying progresses. Just under 6 minutes still remaining. And let's see if we can find somebody that's actually on a lap.
Tell you what, Justin.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Simon is on a lap, right? This is his third lap on this set of tyres, which is a bit interesting. You wouldn't have expected that, but he's found 700ths in the first sector, and that at the moment would put him on course to go back on pole position. So let's ride with Simon then, as he now finds a further 2.5 tenths of a second. Simon here could be threatening a 1:70 here. Now this is impressive from Simon, and into the bargain he's going to get a huge tow from VSR Pinecone down this back straight. This could be an almost unassailable lead that Simon could take here, as Pinecone gives him the perfect tow as he heads down towards that final chicane, riding the curbs through past the wall of champions, taking the shortest run to the line. Is Simon going to go in pole? Yes, he is. A 1:06.96. So Simon breaks the 1:07 barrier and is on top by 3.5 tenths of a second, Justin. And that's the third lap on those hyper soft tyres. That is sensational.
That is incredible. He's out of fuel now, so he's not going to be going for a fourth run. But Simon throws down the gauntlet with less than 5 minutes now remaining in this qualifying session, as MVP 0 has retired, so he won't be bettering his time of a 1:07.867, so 8th at best. And honestly, I would expect these times to continue to come down as more and more rubber gets laid down onto the track. Let's see, I think Pinecone actually is just starting a lap, or was just starting a lap right as Simon was finishing. So we'll see where the young Haas driver can put his car as far as the grid is concerned. Just over 4 minutes remaining still, so plenty of time if he wanted to come back in, I think. Yeah, he probably could go back out there, and he is actually going to dive into the pits. Matt212 Gaming in the Williams, been a difficult season for him so far this year, and he's currently in 7th position. Actually, I think that might be his season best so far, if I'm not mistaken. That would be a really nice qualifying position from the 4th row of the grid, if he were able to maintain that. I believe he is probably not on a hot lap. He's probably going to be coming back in and trying one more shot. It's a very short lap, obviously, here at Canada with only the 14 corners, and with how high speed it is as well, too. You can lap the circuit very quickly, as VSR Simon demonstrated to us not so long ago. So we'll see if or how many of these guys are going to be coming in and heading back out. I mean, there's a large, most of the grid is in the pits as we sit here now, so I would expect everybody is probably preparing for their final runs here, Andy.
And the most of them are. And interestingly, Justin, I saw that Simon made it back in time for him to come back out again as well. He's in the pits at the moment, so Simon will get a chance to go again. But that is going to take some serious beating. I mean, 3.5 tenths on a lap of 67 seconds. That is going to take one hell of a beating from Surprise, Leopard, and Evo, the main contenders to challenge it. And I mean, you have to remember as well, Simon got a huge tow down that back straight as well from Pinecone, so that almost makes it even more difficult for anyone to topple that time from Simon. So if anyone does, it could be the lap of the season, because I think Simon himself has done the lap of the season. So if anyone beats that, it would be very special. Matt212 Gaming, you have to hats off to him to be P7 at the moment. That's impressive. He did, of course, Justin, take that pole
That's
in
right.
China with that.
That's right. I just remembered that.
Unusual strategy, which of course I predicted, and he did, of course, not pay off at all.
Yeah, that didn't work out
for him. But you gotta, I give the hats off to him here. P7 for Matt 212 Gaming is a really strong performance so far, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I said, he's really had rotten luck this season, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if he does improve. Restev, though, does not improve. It's a 109.2 as he crosses the line, just under 2 minutes remaining, so he's got enough time to complete this lap that he's just started, and then one more lap after that, but then it's going to be checkered flag out. So we'll see if the reserve driver can improve any further. MVP 0, after retiring, has dropped down to 9th position. Still with 4 drivers who have yet to set a time, though. The Renault of Feisty Ted, VSR Clone Troop, Cryo Lockdown, EVR Reynolds, all yet to set a time. Lockdown still in the pits, actually. Where is he? I'm not sure if it's, with the time ticking down, I'm not sure he has enough time to do a lap, so I don't think we're going to be seeing anything from him. But all of the big guns now, everybody, in fact, is out on track right now, Andy, except for Lockdown.
I was just seeing there, Reynolds has finally done a lap, but in fact he invalidated it, so he'll have to go again. So Reynolds really on the back foot here, but he is a driver we've seen many times, Justin, haven't we, come charging through the field. So that's something that he will be trying to do. Apologies if you can hear some dinging in the background. I'll try and mute that in a few moments' time if you can hear that. My phone going off its nut. But yeah, Reynolds, he's going to go again. But Simon, on an out lap, surprise, coming to the end of one at the moment, and he's crossing the line now, and it's a 7-0, but it must have been an invalidated 1 minute 7.0 because it's not seen any improvement. So that suggests to me, Justin, that there is time to be found out there. So let's pick up someone on a quick lap. Simon, 169, that is the benchmark. It won't move from that. That is what they're all aiming for. And CRG Evo, the prancing horse, is galloping down the back straight, heading towards the final chicane. Has he got the time in his locker? He needs to find nearly half a second if he wants to go on to pole. Evo, the title leader for the line. And he stays.
1,000th slower. 1,000th of a second. Wow, if nothing else, you got to say Evo is consistent. He's got a 107.353. He just set a .354. That is unbelievable consistency. Surprise also retired because after that invalidated lap, he was actually stuck behind OMG It's Joe. OMG It's Joe on a flyer. You know, he's not going to get out of his way. So Surprise, in the end, decided to back out of that. Joe is just making his way out of that final chicane and staying to the right-hand side. It's a 107.365. What the heck? It's another 1,000th difference. What? I mean, that's unbelievable odds. That can't be real. Pinecone now is actually, he's done. He's heading into the pits.
Leopard final corner, Justin. He's coming for the line. LCR Leopard. Is there any improvement for him? He goes third, and it's well, he's gone a little bit slower, not by much though.
16,000.
Yeah, third, and I think that's it. Apart from Reynolds, as Reynolds comes through the final corner, he's currently still not got a time in the board, Justin. And this one doesn't look too spectacular either. He's 18th at the moment, and it's still no time for him. That means that Simon is going to have pole position without doubt, the lap of the season, Justin. It has to be said.
Yeah, also worth pointing out that our current championship leader, Evo, is going to be starting this race from 4th. We will point out, though, of course, with his teammate just ahead of him, Leopard, I don't think he's going to be putting up too much of a fight, especially after the help that he gave him in Baku and other races as well, too. Leopard, if nothing else, has been teammate of the season. I mean, Evo definitely owes him a beer or something like that. In the end, though, those 4 drivers that didn't set a time never actually did set a time, so that is their session done. And as I mentioned, Surprise was unable. I'm concerned now, Andy. I have to admit, I'm a little concerned with the number of drivers that had invalidated lap times. I'm really worried we're going to be seeing a whole lot of penalties. In the end, though, that gap stood. The only driver to dip into the 106s is the Red Bull of VSR Simon, who starts on pole alongside the Mercedes of Surprise. Then it's a Ferrari lockout on row 2 with Leopard ahead of Evo. The Force India of Joe in 5th position with Matt 212 in 6th on the 3rd row of the grid. Fantastic qualifying for him. Very, very close to just behind him as well. Just a couple of tenths all the way down to P1R Brown in 10th. So our Monaco race winner is starting from the 5th row of the grid. Our current championship leader is starting from 4th. So despite the lack of precipitation in qualifying, the grid has really been shaken up here. And with the forecasted rain for the race, and there it is, straight out of the gate, it is raining. Oh, it appears some cars are mating with each other as well, too, on the grid, but they've sorted themselves out. But this is, I think we might be on for, I don't want to hype it up too much, but I think we might be on for a really good race here, Andy.
Hype it up even more, Justin. It's a great race. We're in for a cracker. What a race this is going to be. The championship leader, Evo, down in 4th position on the grid. And Simon, I've said it already, lap of the season from pole position. But these drivers, predominantly, they do their practice in dry conditions. When it rains, it can mix it up even more. We saw that back in Baku, didn't we, Justin, when we had Reynolds on pole. So there's every possibility we could be in for another cracker. In fact, was it Reynolds on pole back in Baku? Am I thinking of a different league?
I can't remember. I do remember Pinecone was very high up, though, and that has me wondering about what Pinecone could be in store for today.
Yeah, it was a different league. Sorry, yeah, I can't remember. Too many leagues in my mind at the moment. But yeah, it can mix things up quite often. So it should be a thrilling race. We've got Simon, Surprise, Leopard, and Evo. And as you mentioned, Leopard has been a great help to Evo. He does owe him a beer, although Leopard's not old enough for one. He definitely owes him one anyway. And yeah, we saw back in, I think it was Baku actually, where Leopard really helped Evo out big time. And Simon referred to Leopard as Evo's dog. So, yeah, that was a tasty race, that one. But Simon, Surprise, Leopard, Evo, it's going to be a fantastic race. Damp conditions. Who has got the upper hand in the wet? It promises to be a thrilling race. Joe in 5th place. He's always gone well in qualifying. Can he finally get a good result in the race? Matt 212 Gaming, P6 on the grid. Incredible effort from him. One of the stars of qualifying alongside Simon as well. And then you've got the two Haas guys of Pinecone and Jason alongside each other in 7th and 8th. It all points to a fantastic race, Justin. The likes of Reynolds down at the back as well. We know he loves coming through the field as well. So Inters to start, and I think what I'm hearing is it's to dry up as the race goes on. So all the ingredients for a cracker.
Yep, mixed conditions. All of the drivers are on intermediate tires, just in case any of our viewers didn't catch that when I showed that on the screen. But everybody is on the intermediates. Nobody has gone for the full wets. It seems there's some people driving very, very slowly down the casino straight. It's an interesting one, but they are going to be making their way to the grid. But yeah, we've got a number of fast drivers. MVP Zero, who is a podium sitter. He's starting from 9th position. P1R Brown, who is now a race winner. He's starting from 10th position. Langman in 14th position. I would certainly expect him to make up positions. Clone Troop, Lockdown, and Reynolds as well, too. They could be moving up the grid as the race progresses. And with the mixed conditions as well, we could see the likes of some of the, maybe the Rainmeisters, such as VSR Pinecone. We saw him incredible in the wet in Baku. We could see the likes of him do really well at the start and then kind of drop back as the track dries out. As we head to the grid now, Simon from pole position. We've got 5 lights. Still got 5 lights, and they're away. And it's obviously going to be a very slow start with those treacherous conditions out there. But Surprise looks to have gotten a good start. Evo's got a good start as well. He's going to try and go around the outside of his teammate, inside line now for turn 2. And Evo is indeed up into that 3rd place position already. And I'm not seeing any carbon fiber. Everybody is being very cautious through these corners. Looks like Team Vodka Shot losing out on a number of positions. Jason 97 F1. Oh, we got a Williams off. I think that was Matt 212 Gaming, who just had to cut that turn 3-4 chicane. And we've got MVP Zero going side by side with Pinecone. MVP Zero already making up 2 positions in this race, up into 7th position. And Pinecone surprisingly dropping down here, Andy. We thought he was a Rainmeister, but he's already losing positions.
Pinecone dropping down. Ted's up 4 positions as well from the start. The Renault flying, but he's in a battle further down with P1R Brown, and I think he's still up 4 places. But yeah, crucial for Leopard, for Evo to get that jump on Leopard very early on. We've got a crash. I think P1R Brown is facing the wrong way, and he is down at the back of the pack. There must have been contact there, and the race winner from the Monaco Grand Prix in the wars, Justin. Not what you want to happen to you off the back of a race win.
Yep, he is down into last place, still with 34 and a bit laps of racing remaining, though, so I'm not going to discount him from anything, especially given the conditions, as we come to the end of the lap to start lap number 2. No DRS, obviously, as Clone Troop and Langman go side by side, coming out of that final chicane. Clone Troop is going to have the inside line heading into turn 1, but he has to get the move done here. Otherwise, they'll be side by side through turn 2, but they both go off the circuit. Very surprising there. Zelchi looks like he might get the good exit out of turn 2 and be able to... Oh, he's going to squeeze up between them. Langman drops back down into 14th position where he started this race. Oh, but then a big lockup for Zelchi into the braking zone for turn 3. Is that going to allow the Force India back through? Yes, Langman pushes back through up into 13th position, and it's exactly as they were. But Clone Troop, oh, is Reynolds now with a bit of contact with Zelchi through turn 6 there. He's going to move up the inside and up into 14th position. Zelchi now dropping down into 15th position. So lots of jostling for position outside of the points-paying positions. And up at the front, though, it is as it was at the very start. After turn 2, Evo was into 3rd, and nothing has changed with the top 6 since then.
Yeah, brilliant. It's been really exciting further down the field. A few of them struggling to find their braking points, as you would expect when you arrive in damp conditions for the first time, the first couple of laps, trying to get your eye in. As MVP Zero now goes side by side with Matt 212 Gaming. It's a drag race between the Williams and the McLaren, and MVP Zero gets the upper hand, bundles his way across the chicane and up into P6. So through goes Zero on Matt 212 Gaming, and at the moment that looks like the closest battle on track. But interestingly, surprising Simon slowly edging away from the championship leader, CRG Evo, who's already 1.5 seconds off the back of Veloci Surprise, who's put 2 back-to-back fastest laps in this Grand Prix so far. And is he the man to watch in this Grand Prix? Because he looks like he's got the upper hand on both that Red Bull and that Ferrari. And he's only 3 and a bit tenths behind now, Justin. And is he thinking about a move pretty soon?
Langman losing another position as well, too, while all that was going on. Lost a position to Zelchi, who finally got his man, moved up into 14th position, going around the outside of turn 1, inside line for turn 2 for the Renault, and it moves him up 1 step closer to getting into those points. P1R Brown well off the rest of the field, so it looks like he is going to have a struggle of a day. Ooh!
Surprises.
Yes, I was just noticing. I just switched that right as you started noticing it. Simon going very wide there, it looked like, through that turn 10 hairpin, and that's going to put Veloce Surprise right onto the back of him in the Mercedes as they get into the braking zone for that final chicane. He thinks better of it, and VSR Simon already with a 3-second time penalty. That is a devastating blow for the Red Bull driver. I would say that's probably his chances of winning this Canadian Grand Prix are gone already.
Well, it's a bitter blow. After just 4 laps, as you say, Justin, it's not what you want. But clearly the pressure is telling for Simon, because Veloci Surprise has clearly shown here that he is the king in these damp conditions here at Montreal. They are dropping Evo, of all people, by a few tenths a lap, the two of them. And that's why Surprise is following the back of Simon. So the Veloci driver, up until now, putting in a storming performance after 4 laps. And he's pushing Simon through all these corners. And Simon pretty soon is going to struggle to keep that Mercedes behind. The advantage that Simon has on a track like this is that DRS is quite effective, and without it, it can be tricky. But Veloci Surprise tucked right up behind the Red Bull, and surely it's a matter of time before he makes a move. Down into the hairpin they go. Surprise locking up behind that Red Bull driver, but he's going to surely get a good exit here and use that ERS to his advantage. Straight up into overtake mode for Veloci Surprise, right up behind the Red Bull. Down the long back straight they go towards that final chicane. If he doesn't do it here, he might get a second chance down towards turn 1. Look how close he is. You can barely see just that rain light flashing in front of you as you head through the final chicane. Lap 5 about to begin here. Is Surprise close enough for a look down into turn 1? It doesn't look like it on this occasion. And Simon, for now, holds on, but crucially, with a 3-second time penalty. And that could come back to haunt him, Justin.
Yep, Pinecone now making a move on Matt 212, who has dropped down to 7th position since the start of this race, losing 1 spot so far. Pinecone looking to relegate him to another position and regain his starting position of 7th. So possibly the Haas driver just beginning to settle down. Oh, I missed his apex, though, there for turn 3. Clunks the barrier at the exit of turn 4. That's really not what you want, and that's going to put him back by a few tenths as Langman is into the pits in the Force India. That's going to move P1R Brown out of last position. P1R Brown already picking up a 3-second time penalty as well, too. So it's looking like a race to forget for the Williams driver. The Haas of Pinecone, though, is still on the hunt. Surprisingly, OMG, it's Joe is one of the closer people. It looks like Surprise as well. Let me switch over to Surprise before he does something that I don't expect. He is tucked into that slipstream behind the Red Bull of VSR Simon. It seems that Simon, Andy, is just quick in all the right places. Clearly Surprise is the faster driver, but Simon just has that exit that he needs coming out of turn 10, coming out of that final chicane. He's quick in all the places that he needs to be in order to keep that Mercedes behind. And I really do fear for the rest of, as Pinecone picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. It's unfortunate for the Haas drivers, but I do fear for the rest of the drivers and indeed for the excitement level of this race if Surprise does manage to clear Simon, because the pace that he seems to have in that Mercedes right now is just incredible. If he gets past, I have to imagine he's just going to start pulling a gap, Andy.
Well, it's an interesting point, Justin. I would agree with you to an extent, but the forecast this track will dry out, and if Simon's 3.5 seconds quicker than them in dry conditions, he could come back later on. There's every possibility. So it's well set. It's a fine balance, and I think Surprise realises that Simon's quick in the dry, and he also realises that he could really do with getting the move done now because he's rapid in the wet. It's quite incredible that CRG Evo, while these two have been battling in close proximity, hasn't really been able to close. I know Surprise hasn't been ducking and diving side by side up the inside of Simon, but surely still, the tentative nature of Simon's driving up to now, you'd expect Evo to ease onto the back of them slowly, but it's not been happening. So Surprise just seems to be head and shoulders above these guys in these conditions as he again closes in on the back of the German driver as they break for that chicane. And has he got a good run this time? I don't think so. And as you say, Justin, in the right places, Simon has got the speed. And I also feel the lack of DRS makes it really tough in these damp conditions to make a way through. It's a cagey affair up front. That's the word for it at the moment. But it could go crazy at any moment if any mistakes are made. And Simon at the moment just about holding on. But of course, I have to remind you, 3-second time penalty for him. This is the closest battle on track, except for EVR Reynolds and Jason, who look to be quite close as well, Justin. I don't know if there's a move being made there.
Yep, and also it's rather close behind Matt212 Gaming. It seems a bit of a train starting to form. In fact, let's go over to Reynolds, though, because it does seem that he is very close to the back of the Haas of Jason97F1 as they get into the braking zone for turn 6. Jason going a bit wide at the exit of 6 and kind of messing up the entrance of 7. This could be Reynolds' best opportunity as he tries to sneak up the inside on the rundown towards turn 8. And the Mercedes with the inside line is going to move up into 11th position. That's 7 positions gained in less than 7 laps of racing for the Mercedes of EVR Reynolds. So he's doing 1 overtake per lap on average. And, as Pinecone, it looks like he's had enough of being behind Matt212 Gaming. And they're going to be side by side coming out of turn 10. But already the Haas has passed. A bit of slipstream for the Williams, and now the inside line as well. But no, he's not quite alongside. Now he's alongside. Can he be later on the brakes than the Haas of Pinecone? Yes, he is, actually. Retakes that position. Go on, Matt212. EVR Reynolds picks up a 3-second time penalty. Really not what you want. As we saw in Monaco, if you want to really do well in these races, you really need to avoid any sort of penalties. I just caught a quick glimpse of MVP Zero having what seems to be the loneliest race ever. It's only lap 8, and he's got about a 3 or 4 second gap ahead and behind. So MVP Zero in 6th position right now, having a bit of a quiet day and just running his own race, which I imagine has to be pretty nice for him. Team Vodka Shot into the pits, Cryo Lockdown into the pits as well too. One would assume for another set of the intermediate tires. OMG, it's Joe really pressuring the back of Leopard. He's one of the other gaps that I've been watching as actually Surprise has lost a bit of time, it seems, through Sector 2 of this 8th lap of the Canadian Grand Prix. It's now more than 1.3 seconds, actually, down to the Mercedes of Surprise. I'm not sure what's happened there, but whatever happened, it seemed to lose him some time both before the turn 10 hairpin and after the turn 10 hairpin. So I'm not sure what unfortunate luck has befallen Surprise this time, because it has not been the best of races. Seasons, excuse me. He's had some rotten luck. Like I said, he's always either second or last, and that's got to be so frustrating.
It will be really frustrating for Surprise, but yeah, Evo there for a moment was actually closer to him than Surprise was to Simon, but yeah. I'm sure Surprise will try and work that gap back down again. But yep, as you mentioned, Joe looking quite close to Leopard, looking pretty handy.
10-second penalty? A 10-second penalty for Matt 212? I've never seen that.
Must have missed turn 1 and 2, Justin. It's the only thing to do it. And he's now showing his inner Jarno Trulli here with one of the biggest trains in Formula 1 history. Look at this up the inside. Who's that? One of the Saubers of Rested having a little look, and he's going to try and make the move on the exit the corner. That corner, turn 7, is so important on traction because you've got this long straight down towards turns 8 and 9. Look at the train of cars behind Matt 212 Gaming at the moment. So Pinecone has finally been released with Matt 212 seemingly scampering across the runoff area down at turns 1 and 2. That can only explain a 10-second penalty, surely. So is Restive going to have a look up the inside into the hairpin? No more than a look, and he gets a shunt from behind there from Feisty Ted, who is extremely feisty, that has to be said. He's living right up to his name there. So a little bit of bumping and grinding between the drivers, and now Feisty Ted under a little bit of pressure from the man behind. That is the Mercedes of EVR Reynolds pulling alongside, and is he going to make that move stick? Yes, he is, well before the braking zone. And meanwhile, just in front of that, Matt 212 Gaming locking up, running wide, and now Rested will pull alongside, and he will also make easy pickings of Matt 212 Gaming, who immediately gets no respite and has to worry about EVR Reynolds coming up the inside now. Slight contact between the pair, forces out Matt 212, and side by side through turn 1 they go, and now through turn 2. Can Matt 212 stop the slide? It doesn't look like it, because here comes Reynolds, past and up the inside. Through he goes, Matt tries to keep his foot in, and he shouldn't have. Round goes Reynolds, utter chaos behind.
Oh my.
And yeah, what a mess that was, Justin.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that all started with a mistake from Feisty Ted. Well, Feisty Ted didn't have anything to do with what happened there, but Feisty Ted went around EVR Reynolds. Oh, it's going to get very close to running into the back of Feisty Ted, who lost his wing. He lost it somewhere between turns 2 and 3. And then I was watching that while the incident with Matt 212 and EVR Reynolds was going on. So it has gotten very, very messy here on lap 10. It was going so well, really. I mean, we as far as contact and losing wings and stuff like that. But Feisty Ted has lost, and that is not what you want to see. Feisty Ted, I believe, just took out EVR Reynolds. So that'll be one for the stewards to have a look at, and we won't bother ourselves with that kind of information. Meanwhile, LCR Leopard and OMG It's Joe going side by side through turn 2. The Force India with the inside line on the rundown towards turn 3. Surely he is going to get past the Ferrari with that inside line. Leopard really tries to hang in there. He even goes into the grass. But in the end, it is all for nothing. OMG It's Joe moves up into 4th position with a 6-second gap up ahead to the other Ferrari of Evo. Leopard's been really dropping off the back of that. That's also allowed MVP 0 to close up to the back of LCR Leopard as well, too. So he might have to worry about that McLaren running behind him. Seems that Leopard is rather aggressive here. He really wants to, I think he wants to take this position back from Joe as Jason97F1 gets Langman. Oh, that was hard to see there. I'm not sure what happened, but yeah, there's a huge gap between them already, so that might have been a mistake from the Force India driver that allowed Jason97F1 up into 12th position. But I have to say, Andy, this is getting rather hectic and difficult to commentate on.
It's what we want to see. Absolutely brilliant. I have to say, Feisty Ted living up to his name there. Extremely feisty with that on Reynolds. Not what we want to see. But OMG It's Joe really deserves a lot of credit. A man that usually struggles on race pace. He's showing his pace here today by passing Leopard, but he might be being repassed. As down the start-finish straight towards turn 1 they go. And unfortunately, there's no way through for Leopard. And Joe clings on. So Joe, 6.6 now to close in on Evo. Can he do it? It will be a tall order to close in on those front 3 who have shown all through the season that at times they are a cut above, and they're showing it once again. Simon, 1.4 ahead of Surprise. He steadied the ship. Then it's Evo, 1.1 behind Surprise, 2nd to 3rd. But interestingly, Justin, 3 cars, Team Vodka Shop, P1R Brown, and Cryo Lockdown a couple of laps ago, opted for a set of wet compound tyres. Now, I wonder why they've done that. Do they believe it's going to get wet before it gets dry? But at the same time, Jason's come in a lap ago and fitted another set of inters, so contradicting each other there, some conflicting information for us.
I mean, to my eye, this seems like full wet. I mean, I would probably want full wets. It just seems so treacherous. We're on board with Zelchi, who is less than half a second off of the Toro Rosso of VSR Clone Troop at the moment, and you could just see him sliding around as he tries to put all that power down onto the road. Clone Troop completely misses turn 9 and goes to the left of the inside curb. And that is going to keep him ahead of Zelchi for the meantime, but Zelchi really seeming like the faster driver is they're just so wide. They're miles from the apex of that turn 10 hairpin. And Zelchi, is he going to have the exit that he needs? No, I don't think he's going to have enough here to get alongside that Toro Rosso for what is the final points-paying position. So we'll keep an eye on that. Also keeping an eye on the wet guys. Oh, as it gets very, very close. Under braking for the Renault. Comes very, very close to the back of the Toro Rosso. I think that put him off a little bit at the exit of that final chicane. That's going to lose him some valuable tenths to Clone Troop up ahead. But yeah, that gap between Langman and Team Vodka Shot, it's kind of, it's a bit of an accordion effect going on, but it's pretty much staying the same, more or less. It's right around 2 seconds where it was before. So we'll continue to monitor that and see if the full wets are indeed the best course of tire. From what we understand, though, correct me if I'm wrong here, Andy, from what we've heard, though, it is expected to dry out. So I would expect a lot of these drivers are just going to try and hang in there on those inters.
And Matt 212 put in the chat earlier on that it was a case of inters to dry. So so interesting to see a few guys going for the wet tyre. 2.6 now between Vodka Shot and Langman. Perhaps it is going to get wetter first. We don't know. So maybe the guys out there on inters at the moment, the guys that have done the first 12 laps of the race, might want to stretch out these tyres to go onto a set of wets before it dries up, but seem to show that it's actually the intermediate tyre you want to be on. Perhaps maybe the guys at the back of the pack have gone for wets simply to try and mix up the strategy because they've got nothing to lose, and that's probably the most likely of the options, because I don't actually think it's raining that hard anymore, Justin. It's starting to lighten a bit. It certainly wasn't gaining in intensity for a few laps, but it doesn't look that heavy out there now. And look at Zelchi here, right up behind the back of Clone Troop. Is he going to think about a move into turn one for what would be the final points paying position? And when you're fighting down in the midfield, points can often be hard to come by. So this could be a feisty battle between these two. Hopefully not as feisty as his teammate was earlier on from Zelchi. We'll see how it goes as he lines up Clone Troop. I think we've just seen a pit stop of a car out the pits in front that was locked down back on inters. So yeah, that tells you all you need to know about the wet compound, doesn't it, Justin?
Yep, Vodka Shot definitely losing time to Langman up ahead now. So yeah, it looks like that was the last call, and decidedly it is looking like there's less rain falling from the sky than there was even just a couple of laps ago. Let's go on board with Zelchi as he's gotten a great run on the rundown towards turn 8, but it's not going to be enough to put him alongside the Toro Rosso. Again, Clone Troop, though, makes a bit of a hash of that turn 8-9 chicane, and that's going to put Zelchi right up to the back of him. Is he going to go defensive into that turn 10 hairpin? He's not, and that's going to allow Zelchi to go up as a 5-second stop-go penalty for Leopard. Zelchi with that inside line takes that 10th place position off the Toro Rosso, but Clone Troop with an incredible exit actually out of that corner puts him back alongside the Renault. They're going to be side by side on the rundown towards the final couple of corners. I don't expect either of these drivers is going to be going into the pit, so we'll see who's later on the brakes. It is the Renault of Zelchi. Oh, but he picks up a 5-second stop-go penalty for that corner cut into the final chicane. Matt212 Gaming picks up a 3-second time penalty. I don't think that's his first. And
a 10-second, remember?
That's right, that's right. Matt had that incredible 10-second penalty, which, again, I've never even seen before. I have to say, I think I saw the sun actually reflecting off the circuit there coming out of turn 2, if I'm not wrong, Andy.
Sun? The sun, you say?
I think so.
Oh, wait till I peek my head out the commentary box window. Oh, incredible. Get the sun cream on, Justin. It's starting to sunshine here. Oh, brilliant. Let's keep an eye on that one. Will the sun begin to shine? We will soon see. But that was the forecast. We were expecting it to dry out. The question is, Justin, will we see these guys on the inters, the top 11 who have yet to stop, stretch it out far enough to go into a set of dries, or will they have to stop once before they change to a set of dries? That's the big question. Is Simon, look at that.
What?
Fastest lap on the intermediate tyre. Now, that might be good because the track's drying, or he might be genuinely picking up the pace. He's 2.1 now ahead of Veloci Surprise. So that early storm that Simon weathered, he's now looking like potentially opening up the gap above the 3 seconds he needs, and that would be very impressive from Simon if he could do that, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Rustev stays out. Pinecone is into the pits, which is also going to allow Matt212 to come through. And Pinecone, it appears, has fitted another set of intermediates, which is a bit of a strange one because it certainly seems like it's starting to dry up. Surely maybe just a handful of laps or so. There is still rain falling from the sky, though. in case you guys are watching on mobile or something just in really, really poor resolution. Oh my gosh, how many changes of position are going on right now? Zelchi and Pinecone going side by side. Langman as well gaining position on Clone Troop due to the Toro Rosso coming into the pits. That's also going to be the end of the day for Cryo Lockdown, becoming our third retirement after that, let's say, questionable contact between Reynolds and Ted. Again, we're not going to pass any judgments there just yet. All I know is what I caught at the end. Yeah, Zelchi and Pinecone trading positions. Zelchi with the 9. Oh, yeah.
He's really close now. Look at that. Fastest lap from Evo now. 3.5 tenths off the back of Surprise. And is this the moment where the man, the robot, the championship leader, CRG Evo, begins to flex his muscles here in Canada? He's been silent all race long. Is he the silent killer? Is he the man that's slowly going to bring himself back into contention? P4 in qualifying, not usually something we'd associate with Evo, usually right up at the sharp end in first or second. P3 at the moment. Is this the moment where he begins to apply the pressure on the youngster Veloci Surprise and potentially make his move? Well, it's going to be one to watch, Justin, but Evo looks to be on the prowl, and maybe Surprise is maybe just taking a wee bit out of his tyres. He was flying at the start of the race, wasn't he, on those intermediate tyres, and maybe that's what's happened. He's not paced himself the way Simon and Evo have on the tyres. He's overheated them maybe they're past their best, and now he's beginning to suffer. He's dropping off Simon, and he's now dropping into the clutches of CRG Evo. But Pinecone, no, only a tenth behind Zelchi, so maybe we should pick that one up, Justin.
Yep, and he is, of course, on those brand new intermediate tires that he just came into the pits for as well. And I mean, this certainly could be a masterstroke, actually, from VSR Pinecone if it stays wet for a lot longer than everybody else expects. Because he came in, that would have been at the end of lap 16 that he came into the pits, which is right around the halfway point of this race. So if it ends up being wet for a really significant amount of time, that could be a really good choice. And you can see with that fresh rubber, just breezes his way past the Renault of Zelchi up into 9th position. MVP 0 is into the pits as well, and he's also fitting another set of intermediates. Matt 212 now in the Williams is into the pits, and Zelchi is following as well too. So like I said just a little bit ago, Pinecone might be onto something here, Andy, as it seems a number of drivers are going to follow suit. The real question, though, is are we going to see any sort of movement from like the top 5 as far as those guys coming into the pits for another set of intermediates? So we'll monitor that one. Evo just over a second off the back of the Mercedes of Surprise. Simon, after recently setting fastest lap, is actually seeming better and better as this race goes on, more and more likely to pick up that win. And again, he was absent last time at Monaco, and he lost his second place position in the championship due to that absence. So I imagine that he is going to be really, really motivated here today. And as we are now past the halfway point of this race, will we see VSR Simon continue on like this to the end? Oh, what's going on? Oh, Leopard's into the pits. Yep.
So that could be interesting then. I was interested to see if anyone of the top 5 would do it, just as you'd mentioned, Justin. And Leopard is one of the men to have decided to do it, and he's been held in the pit stop. So I presume a 5-second time penalty has been added at some point. So Leopard gets away, but yeah, well, maybe if you're Leopard with a 5-second penalty, maybe it wouldn't have been ideal to come in and try and lessen the pit stops. But fresh set of inters, Justin, so let's see how it goes for him. I was hoping that someone in the top 3 or 4 would maybe try something different to mix it up a little bit. 18 laps they've done on these inters. I don't know, I don't think you know either, how much go on a set of intermediate tyres here at Canada, but I'm pretty sure the tyre wear's not the greatest round here, so hold on to these tyres, that's the big question. 0 and Leopard, 5th and 6th. Let's see how quickly they can gain on Joe. And maybe Joe, 9.7 off Evo, with the likes of 0 and Leopard pitting. Does he think he can gamble now and go for a set of inters, a fresh set of inters too, to try and increase his chances of a podium this afternoon? Might be worth a gamble.
Oh, and that is the Williams of P1R Brown. Our Monaco race winner has retired. It's definitely a race to forget. That's got to be extremely frustrating after the hot... What's that? Oh.
Joe is coming in. He is doing what Leopard and 0 did. So, given that he was the next man behind the top 3, let's see if he can try and make some inroads here. Try something different. If the guy's behind you pit, you've got nothing to lose, Joe. So why not go for it and see if this gives you an advantage or an upper hand to get at those top 3 runners. So let's say the top 3 have stuck to their guns, 19-lap-old Inters, but out comes Joe, but behind MPP0 Willie, who's pulled off a master stroke by coming in 2 laps earlier.
Yeah.
Not quite, not quite. Leopard though, he's jumped Leopard, has 0, but not quite Joe. And 25.8 seconds. How much can Joe gain on Evil, Surprise and Simon as they struggle on the Inters? Or will they bail out soon and admit defeat and have to come in for a second set of Inters before it dries out? That's the big question.
Well, it certainly has worked out well for Joe, who moved up into 4th earlier in the race after displacing Leopard, but now MVP0 has snuck into that battle as well, too, moving himself ahead of Leopard due to that undercut, and now he's right onto the back, actually. Oh, but he misses. Yep, and oh, that's a 3-second time penalty for Simon. Another 3-second time penalty for Simon, as Surprise now comes into the pits from 2nd position in this race. I have to say, it is definitely looking drier and drier out there, though. It looked like it was drying up, then it looked like the rain was almost coming back. It seemed like it was kind of raining towards the south side of the circuit, down towards the turn 10 hairpin, and not so much near turns 1 and 2. But now, I'm not so sure. You can definitely spot a little, yeah, there's a little bit of blue there up at the top of the screen, as Feisty Ted makes his way out of the session. MVP0, though, actually losing time to Joe. Wow. Oh, but Joe has made a real mess of turn 1 and subsequently turn 2, as Leopard now sets the fastest lap of the race. So that's going to put MVP0 right up to the back of OMG It's Joe. He's still just over a second. No DRS, obviously, as the Sauber of Restev is right behind Pinecone now as well, too, with 3-lap fresher tires. I have to give it to Pinecone. He did bring himself back into this race. Remember, Leopard was essentially 4th, and now Pinecone's only a 1.5 seconds behind him. So this has worked out well for Pinecone. He was kind of the trendsetter when it comes to all of these guys coming into the pits for another set of intermediates, and it has worked out for him. It's not worked out as well as it did for MVP0, but it certainly brought Pinecone into this battle. Yeah, Andy.
Evil coming in as well now, so Simon, the only man with the bravery to keep going on those Inters. It might be drying up, guys, for Simon, but can you risk that without getting a puncture? That's the thing that Simon has to worry about. Surely 21 laps on a set of Inters is getting close to puncture territory. But Simon knows with 6 seconds worth of penalties, he almost has to take this risk to gain that pit stop, to gain that 6 seconds. But the tyres must be finished. He's already only 16 seconds ahead of Surprise, who's made a stop, and that gap's going to come down. Can Simon nurse these tyres far enough without getting a puncture and maintain an advantage? That is going to be key. This is going to be so close. But those guys tried to stay out so long, and in the end, Evo and Surprise just had to chicken out. They didn't want to risk the puncture. We need to keep an eye on Simon. How much longer can he do it? But the rain is now stopping. So another lap or two, and Simon might get the result he wants here. But at the same time, a puncture cannot be far away on that Red Bull car. Surely it's really close. He's gambling like crazy here.
Yeah, Simon is flirting with disaster. But as you said, I think those 2 penalties are really dictating his strategy here. So, what's that?
He's coming in now. He's bailed out.
Wow, that is very surprising. So he will... Oh, and it's for the Super Softs. It's for the Super Softs. Oh, as Restev, though, up the inside at the turn 10 hairpin, as Pinecone has gone a bit wide. And Surprise now setting the fastest lap of the race with a 118.4. And where is Simon going to come out? He's coming out. He's rejoining the circuit now. And it's going to be just behind Evo. But again, he is on those slick tires. Let's actually stay on board with the Red Bull of Simon. It's 1.4 seconds to the Ferrari of Evo just ahead. We'll watch him as he navigates his way through turns 3 and 4. You can see he's just being so careful through there. He's already lost a second, and it's only been a couple of corners. So it's not paying off just yet. If this is going to pay off for Simon, he needs it to dry out very quickly here, Andy.
Absolutely, and the reason he's gone for the super soft tyre is because the harder the compound, the better they are on this game, as it was. It certainly was in the previous game. I believe it is the case on this game. But Simon is struggling so much, running wide. But if he can stay out, limit the damage for 1 or 2 more laps, he might still have that 6 seconds he needs when Surprise and Evo pit. But he's just got a limp round. He's already lost 1.5 seconds and climbing on this lap alone. This is going to be a master stroke from Simon if it pays off. but it's going to be really tough to see what will work for him. Evo and Surprise still out there ahead of him on the road. Can Simon make it work? It is quite literally a do-or-die decision for Simon. A few cars have come in. Zelchi's been in. Langman's been in. Clone Troop's been in. They've all been in the pits for a set of dry compound tyres. Can Simon weather the storm for just a couple of laps and maybe pull off a famous shock victory with a stunning strategy? We'll wait and see. This is on a knife edge, Justin.
Lots more drivers into the pits. MVP Zero, OMG, it's Joe, LCR Leopard, Restev, Pinecone, all of these guys opting for the Ultra Soft so far. Let's see if Restev goes for something different. Everybody's going for the Ultras. Nope, everybody has gone for the Ultras. And, oh, he got held really, really long, did Restev there. I've got to make sure that I'm not on board with them as they come out of the pits. There we go. Sorry about that. So let's rejoin. Let's remind ourselves exactly what's going on. Up at the front, Surprise and Evo still on the intermediates. They got to come in this lap. They got to be coming in this lap.
Simon's gaining. He's going to make it work. This is incredible. A ballsy strategic move from Simon is going to pay off. He's going to wipe out the 6 seconds worth of penalties here. Absolutely stunning strategy. Are Evo and Surprise coming in? Yes, they are. And Simon now is not only going to wipe out the 6 seconds worth of penalties, he's going to have a huge lead over these guys. What a strategy from Simon. But the other thing to note, Evo and Surprise are going to be on softer tyres. Can they cut the gap down to under 6 seconds? This is going to be a brilliant finale for the final 10 laps of this Grand Prix. Whoa, this could be brilliant, Justin. Brilliant. And Joe, by the way, is in the final corner as these guys exit the pits. He's gained quite a bit of time on Surprise and Evo, but not enough to make any inroads on them. Simon, 9.7 ahead of Surprise. That is basically 3.7. So can Surprise and Evo gain on the softer tyre with 10 to go? This is going to be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's seeming like an inevitability as far as him getting close. I mean, Surprise, you can see he's taking out hundredths every corner. That gap is just getting smaller and smaller, and he's gone and picked up a 3-second time penalty. Oh, that is not good for him. I don't believe Evo has picked up a penalty, so now Surprise needs to get within 3 seconds of Simon while staying at least 3 seconds ahead of Evo. Keep in mind, Surprise has not won a race this season, and that is shocking to us. That is completely shocking. We absolutely would have expected for him to pick up a win at this point, as VSR Simon now setting fastest lap with a 1:13.7. So you can see the times really starting to tumble now as Team Vodka Shot picking up a 3-second time penalty as well. I'm having a look at OMG, it's Joe, but let's go on board with the other Force India of Langman. Because it's Joe now setting fastest lap. Langman is right up to the back of the Renault of Zelchi here. Both of these drivers on the Ultra Softs, and they both came in at the same time as well, but Langman decidedly looking much quicker, at least through that hairpin. And is the DRS activated? It is, in fact, activated. I missed that message whenever it happened. Oh, a 3-second time penalty for MVP Zero now as well, too. I don't know if Joe has any penalties. I don't... What's that?
Find out. I'll find out for you.
Thank you. Yeah, so Joe and Evo may be the only people in the top 5 that don't... Oh, never mind. Joe just got a 3-second time penalty. That was my fault.
On 2 warnings. I was about to say he was on 2 warnings. Don't give him the commentator's card. And boom, there it was. Right as I came out the pause menu from looking at the penalties.
Oh, man.
But Evo now just a fraction over Surprise at 3 seconds. Look at that.
Well, Surprise is he's closing on Simon too. He's gained a whole second.
Yeah, he has. But the fact he picked up a 3-second time penalty makes it even harder for him. He needs to get... What does he need to get within now? 3 seconds. He needs to find a full 5 seconds in 8 laps. I don't think he can do it. I think Simon, providing he doesn't get another penalty, has played an absolute blinder here. Not only has he done it in qualifying with the lap of the season, he's about to pull off the strategy of the season. If he doesn't get another time penalty, which... going by Justin's recent commentator's curse, I might just have done this to Simon.
Yeah, I fear you may have, as Leopard picks up a 3-second time penalty. Oh, man. Maybe the drivers are all a bit rusty. Of course, we didn't race at the Canadian Grand Prix for Season 15. Season 15 was a truncated season with only 15 races on the calendar, so it's been a whole year more or less. Really, since any of these guys have raced in Apex Online Racing at the Canadian Grand Prix, and that could be, oh, Pinecone with the 3 second, you know, just 3 seconds for everybody. You get 3 seconds. You get 3 seconds. I'm still watching Langman because he is still the only car that's within DRS range of another car. He's just over 8/10 adrift of the Renault of Zelchi, and Evo sets the fastest lap of the race. So we're now down into the low 1-minute 10s, which I probably couldn't do that in quali trim if I'm honest. And it does seem that the Ultrasofts are faster. So I don't know about that call from Simon as far as putting on the Super Softs. The Ultrasofts really do seem to have been the better choice. Clearly, the Hypersofts would have been too soft, and I don't know that they would have had any spare sets after qualifying anyway, so I think that was kind of out of the running as far as choice of tires is concerned. But the Super Softs may have been a bit too aggressive because, Andy, this track dried so fast.
I don't know, Justin. I can understand why Simon went for the Supers, because at the end of the day, soft tyre at that moment when the track was still damp, it was the right decision. And you know what they always say, be on the right tyre at the right time, and when on a damp track, the super soft tyre is the best tyre. And Simon, all he really wanted was to be ahead of Surprise and Evo by 6 seconds when they came out the pits, and then he can try and cling on from there. So I totally understand why Simon did it, but you're right, the Ultrasoft now that the track is bone dry, is the right tyre. But the fact that Surprise has got a penalty makes this very difficult for him to get within 3 seconds of Simon. He might be cutting the gap down quite quickly right now, but by the end of the race, the Ultrasofts will be past their best and the Super Softs will still be going strong. So we'll wait and see how it pans out. But it is, as you say, as we keep saying, it's on a knife edge between those guys. It can Surprise keep pumping in the laps to the finish and get under 3 seconds, and can Simon keep his head and not get any penalties? It's right in the balance. It's been a thrilling race, really tense. Tense is the word for it, as we keep watching and see if Langman can get a move on Zelchi, but at the moment, unable to, and it's outside the points, that one, at the moment. But I think, Justin, it might be for a point, given the number of penalties Matt212 Gaming has got up the road from them.
Yes, very true. Matt212 with at least 13 seconds worth of time penalties. I just saw Langman, I think, pick up at least his second 3-second time penalty as well. So if he plays his cards right, he could get into the points potentially. He does need to get past Zelchi, though, and also he needs to hope that Zelchi has as many or more penalties than he has. So this has become another one of those races where it's very difficult to try and predict who's going to finish where, just because it's extremely difficult for us to know exactly how many penalties everybody has. If anybody from Codemasters or if Dan Hawkins is listening, it would be awesome to have an ability to show how much time penalties someone has. You know, if we could flip through that as one of the options where it shows like how many laps they've been on those tires, that would be fantastic. Just a thought. MVP0 picks up another 3-second time penalty. I know for a fact that's at least his second. Could be potentially his third. I really don't know. Again, it's getting more and more difficult to try and keep track of all of these penalties. And the sun is out in full force now as they head down the casino straight. Langman now outside the DRS range of Zelchi. The next closest battles are kind of Leopard to Zero and also Restev to Pinecone. So let's go over to the Sauber driver who's filling in this weekend. And you have to say, doing a good job, Andy. I always have massive respect for anybody that can just turn up for an AOR F1 tier race and be in the points. That's impressive stuff.
Yeah, very impressive stuff from Restev. He's kept his nose clean when others have failed to, and he's had solid pace as well. Some really solid pace. P8, fine performance from him on his return or his debut. I'm not too sure what it is for him, but Restev, great job by him. P8 at the moment, 4 World Championship points, and I think he will be extremely satisfied with his performance up till now. And by the way, just to note here, I've just read this in the comments, and it's a very good spot by Reading FC in the comments. There's a shout out for that football club. But Simon, if he picks up another 3-second time penalty, this field is separated by less than a second, a few tenths of a second. So
yep,
that's just how close this is going to be if he does. So 4 laps to go, and Simon, he's got the most penalties out of the guys at the front. He is known for picking up a penalty under pressure, and you can see that Surprise as Zelchi picks up another one. You know what, they're just piling up these penalties now, aren't they?
They're like Pokemon, they're collecting them.
Exactly. And you have to say, Surprise, you can tell that he's desperately trying to mount pressure on Simon. Whether he gets it under 3 seconds or not, he's almost forcing Simon to start pushing. And Simon doesn't want to push. He doesn't want another penalty. But if it gets nearer 3 seconds, Simon will have to start pushing and have to start risking another time penalty. It's going to be a fine finish to this Grand Prix, and surprise, I'm really impressed that he's still hacking that gap down as much as he is and keeping the 3 seconds to Evo. Very impressive. But can Simon hold his nerve, hold his bottle, and hold on for a fantastic win after that magnificent
safety car
is out. Oh, and that...
I'm sorry?
What?
Is that for real? Yeah, it says safety car at the top left. I mean, Surprise is definitely going very slowly. I think that was Zelchi that caused that. I wonder if we can get a view somehow to see what happened and where. We do have Jason97 F1 into the pits. Yeah, Andy.
Going by with Volker's shot, we might find Zelchi's car because he's behind him on the road, but Simon is probably about to throw the console and the wheel and the whole equipment out the window after that. Honestly, a safety car on F1 2018? Are you kidding? Seriously, what is this? Simon is going to be going off his head. He'll be furious. He'll be kicking himself. He'll be going absolutely mental. And now he's coming to the pits, Justin. Why is he coming in? They're all coming in.
I don't know. I mean, I can only imagine Simon's coming in because he wants to put on like the hypers or the ultras or something like that, and then he wants to try and build enough of a gap to try and win the race. Even though I think they're going to finish behind the safety car. Are they not? Are they not going to finish behind the safety car? Evo has been picked up by the safety car. Simon is rather far behind him. Joe is now into third position after staying out on his set of Ultra Softs. That could be really clever from Joe. And Andy, I don't remember. Did you check to see if Joe has any? Oh, that's right. He has one penalty. He has one penalty. So he could be second potentially in this race?
Could be, absolutely. He is going to be P2 in this race the way this is looking. I think we might have one racing lap, Justin, at the end of this. Are we going to see some serious fireworks at the end of this race? I cannot believe we've got a safety car. What? How have we managed to get a safety car? The game never gives us a safety car, and suddenly the game gives us a safety car when you least expect it, right at the end of it. And the safety car's in this lap already.
Huh.
What?
Okay. Well, we're going to have two more racing laps at this Canadian Grand Prix. Evo leads with no penalties. Simon in second position with 6 seconds worth of penalties. OMG and Joe is third with 3 seconds worth of penalties. And Veloce Surprise in fourth position also with 3 seconds worth of penalties. So I believe Joe and Surprise would move ahead. I don't think Simon is going to have the pace. I mean, Joe could maybe be Simon's best friend here as Team Vodka Shot is... well, it's showing he's on the intermediate tires. There we go. As he drives under the bridge, that's been changed. He's out of position, of course. He is a lap down, and he is going to move nicely out of the way of Surprise. However, Surprise has a big gap now. 1.2 seconds up to Joe. Joe is obviously not going to be quick enough. Simon is... Yeah, yep, Leopard and MVP 0 side by side through turn 2. Leopard tries to go around the outside. He'll have the outside line as well on the run down towards turn 3 into the 3-4 chicane. And it looks like he's just about going to edge ahead of MVP 0, who has at least 6 seconds worth of time penalties. I believe Leopard has at least 3 seconds worth of time penalties. MVP 0 thinks about going up the inside into turn 6, but can't quite make that work. And here comes Pinecone now after the McLaren gets a bit out of shape through that chicane. And Pinecone's going to have that inside line for the turn 8 and 9 chicane as well too, and he does breeze ahead of the McLaren. Yeah. Oh, and Simon, is that? I assume that's what you were going to point out. Simon around the outside at the turn 10 hairpin. Is he going to get the job done on Evo? It looks like he is. I don't think there's going to be any sort of DRS activation as the safety car just came in. Evo now with the slipstream. Surprise is side by side with Joe as well too. We've got battles up and down the field as they're side by side into the final chicane. Evo stays ahead. Surprise makes some contact with Joe into that final chicane, and Joe's going to lose out pretty heavily. Surprise moves up into third position and sets fastest lap of the race. Oh yeah, Evo and Simon now side by side. Evo with the inside line through turn 2. Can Simon get him around the outside? He'll have the outside line now for turn 3 into the chicane, but no, Evo much later onto the brakes holds on to the lead of this race.
Absolutely incredible. Simon desperately wanting to make a move. He's going through turn 5 now. He wants to make the move, but Evo's run wide, has he? Or is that just the game glitching? I'm not sure.
No, that's not a glitch, I don't think. Yeah.
Penalty. Did he? Oh, he went wide. I've seen him go wide, but Evo down to P3. The game is glitching for me, and Simon now back up into the lead on this final lap. But now, who's going to win this race here? Is it going to be Surprise or Evo? Evo doesn't have a penalty, does he? No, he doesn't. So, Evo is going to win this race in the most frantic way possible. Joe is probably going to finish. No, Surprise is going to be second, and Joe's going to be third, and Simon is going to drop way down the order here. What an incredible finish to this race. Restive's now up to P7 and is attacking MVP0 for P6. But we should stick to the guys seeing the checkered flag. Simon will be a face of fury when he gets to the podium.
Oh, he's got another penalty.
And picks up another one. And there you go, Justin. Simon wins.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Simon is the first. DRS enabled. Thanks for that game. Evo does pick up the win after Simon's 9 seconds worth of penalties. Surprise finishes in second position because remember, Surprise either gets second or he fails to finish the race entirely. Evo either wins or gets third, so everybody's doing exactly as they should. And it's a podium though for OMG It's Joe, a fantastic result, you have to say, for the Force India driver. It's his second podium of the season after picking up that second place finish at Baku. So just a really incredible drive from OMG It's Joe. It wasn't the cleanest of races. We will finally get to see the screen. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we've seen another safety car in Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. Oh, I see it's nice and sunny for the podiums as well too. So after the absolute insanity of the weather at the start of this race, your winner is CRG Evo. He picks up his 5th win out of 7 races. He's going to be sitting on 155 championship points after just 7 races, which means he's averaging more than 22 points per race. I mean, that is mind-blowing stuff. It's really difficult to try and combat that sort of thing when you have somebody that is that consistent. But let's go through the final standings. In the end, I got to check this real quick. Was Evo, in fact, the only driver without any sort of penalties? I got to scroll all the way down in order to see it. Yeah, other than Cryo Lockdown, who didn't finish the race. Evo, not a single penalty. And that is why he is the championship leader. I mean, really incredible stuff. Surprise, though, in the end, 1.8 seconds adrift after the penalties. OMG, It's Joe with that 3rd place position. VSR Simon in 4th. Leopard in 5th. Restev in 6th position, filling in. What a guy. Pinecone in 7th. Matt 212 picks up 4 championship points for his tally. Jason97F1 in 9th position. Not the greatest day for him, but he does get to bring home some points. MVP 0 as well with all of those penalties. Gets a single championship point. And wow, that was pretty incredible. And we do have, oh, I'm so sorry about that. I accidentally dragged Joe into somebody else's room. Oh, and we got Evo as well too. So let's talk to Evo first, since he was the race winner after the penalties there. Boy, that was a pretty incredible one there, Evo. How was it for you?
Oh, it was a great race. I had to laugh at the end. I knew Surprise had a penalty at the end there, but I didn't know about Simon's until the safety car, which came out of nowhere. Yeah, I got 2 penalties the last 2 races, and I said to myself, you don't get one this race, and it paid off perfectly. I'm just so happy to win this race. I know I might not have the ultimate pace at this race, but it's such a crucial win in the championship.
Yeah, it's an important one for sure. And as I was saying before you joined us here in Discord, you know, that's a champion's drive to win without any sort of penalties or anything like that, because it was just penalties up and down the entire field. So huge congratulations on that very well deserved and difficult drive. We do also have Joe joining us, who picked up that 3rd place position, your 2nd podium of the season. How are you feeling after that?
I'm really quite happy, to be honest. My race was a bit compromised by Leopard. Don't know if you realise, but I kind of got stuck behind him for the whole inter stint, pretty much. So then it was about 6.5 seconds, 7 seconds to Evo in front, and I kind of kept that gap. Evo was a little bit quicker, so I kind of actually had the pace this race, which is like really like a first really this season. I've actually had the decent pace, so that's a really good positive. And the safety car, well, that was blind luck and one on the podium, really.
And did it all kind of start to come together after you put on that second pair of inserts? Because as you said, you know, at the beginning you were kind of stuck behind Leopard and stuff for a while. Was it really that second insert stint where you started to realize, hang on, I could get a really good result here?
I kind of knew I could get a really good result around here because my pace was really good. I'm not going to lie, my quali pace at least. I kind of bottled quali, but that's a different story. But I wasn't really sure how the race would go, and it actually kind of went all right. My tyres were fine, and yeah, it was in the second interstint I realised that, okay, I've got fourth here, just don't mess it all up. I know the guys behind have got a lot of penalties, so it was just about not getting more penalties, and I was nearly did get another. That would have not been that good, but it is what it is, and I'm really quite happy.
Yeah, I can imagine. Also, because you're in a very, very tight part of the championship field as well. You headed into this race in sixth position in the championship points after being overtaken by P1R Brown because of that win at Monaco. But I imagine this is going to do a lot for your championship, get you back in there as well too. I'm going to ask both of you guys this, but I'll start with Evo. How are you feeling going into the French Grand Prix?
It's a new track. I quite enjoy to drive it there, but I literally haven't done any league practice around there, so I don't know how everyone will get on there. Yeah, but I look forward to it.
You like driving it? You like it from a driving standpoint, though. You enjoy it behind the wheel. Gotcha. And what about you, Joe? How do you feel about the French Grand Prix?
Same as Evo, really. I quite enjoy to drive it, but I did do a league race there a couple of days ago, and I was, well, to put it bluntly, shocking. So, gonna have to improve for then. But I don't know. I think I can do. It's just getting rid of some few mistakes, and I should be back up there, which is what I'm looking forward to.
And any closing statements or questions from you, Andy?
Not much to say really, apart from what a race that was. The safety car arriving when it did, everyone must have been in disbelief when it came out. Quite incredible. Yeah. A result for Evo. He never had the pace today, the outright pace, but he comes away with a victory because he is the robot, an absolute robot. The only man in the entire field without a penalty, with the exception of Lockdown, who didn't even do half the race. So, I mean, incredible from Evo. He shows his class again, and that's why he has the lead he has in the championship. I want to give a special mention to Simon, who will be crying in his sleep tonight, it has to be said. And what a lap in qualifying, lap of the season without doubt, and what a strategy that was. The guts they had to stay out and stick on a set of super softs when it was still damp, and the safety car undid all his good work, and he was on course to pull off an amazing victory. So I really feel for Simon, but well done to Evo. No penalties, and that shows. Even if the safety car came out and he didn't get penalties, he would have won it. But no, Simon got the penalties, Evo didn't, and that's how Evo has won this race. But yeah, fantastic job from Evo. Well done to Joe on the podium as well. Fantastic result for him as well. Finally showing some great race pace. And yeah, really pleased for him. But yeah, it's all set up for a fantastic race in France, Justin. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, looking forward to it as well. Again, huge congratulations to Evo for the win, surprise for another second place, and to OMG It's Joe for a second podium this season as well. Thank you to all of the drivers, everybody for tuning in. Don't forget, you can't vote for your driver of the day. I didn't get the results on that, but you can vote for your driver of the day. That should have been advertised in the chat of the video. Also, you can check the Apex Online Racing Twitter account for that sort of stuff as well, too. I'm sure they'll announce a driver of the day on that Twitter account. So, again, thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next week for the first ever Apex Online Racing French Grand Prix, or at least the first one in a while. I don't know when the last game was that had a French Grand Prix, but I don't think it was anytime recently. So, make sure you tune in next time. It's going to be a great one from France. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.